All right. Sorry about that, guys. We had some issues here. I'm just going to double check and make sure we are live. Um, it looks like we're good. Looks like everything's set now, so we should be okay. Sorry about those who missed the beginning. So just so you guys know, I'm back in Lakeside Pine Top. I'm kind of in a little area. There's a lot of lightning going on, so I don't know if that has some issues to going on here, but sorry for the late start and the technical difficulties, but I'm really glad to have on Kory Klimas, a good friend of mine. How you doing, Kory?
I'm doing well, Gabe. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Happy to talk with you. We did one of the mini pods when we were getting all excited for the Elevate convention last year. So that was really cool. But I wanted to have you on for a little bit longer discussion because we have a lot of history. We both have supported one another in the different projects that we've done, and I want to talk a little bit about that, and also just talk about just the ups and downs of cleaning windows and the different things that you've done and seen, and where you're at now with your business, because you guys are popping, right? So you've got,
Yeah.
is it 4 employees or 3?
So I got four. I got four going now. I have a fifth. He's a college student, but he's got an internship for a month. So he's gone he came back in the early May, and now he's gone. He's got 2 more weeks on this internship, and he's really like one of my lead guys. So it's kind of tough losing him, but everybody else has picked up the slack really well and filled in the gaps. We're in a good spot.
Excellent.
I would get a little bit more free time. I could get a little more free time if he was here, but we're not going to complain about that. Right. I like to be busy and working.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's kind of nice to have a guy like that, where they're a little flexible and, where you're able to kind of, I don't know, you can kind of use them and train them, but it's not like you're putting all in with them either, at the same time. So I know I've had some employees where they've had other passions, or like, for instance, I had one guy who wanted to be an electrician and he wanted to become a journeyman, but he needed to, I don't know, he needs to take some tests or he needed to get some certification. So he worked with me for about 6 months till he finally got it, and then he told me, hey Gabe, I finally got him. I'm gonna go start taking his classes, and he got a I don't know if we call it an internship, but he posted on Facebook, and I hadn't seen him in a while. Yeah, and he's doing really well. I was just so happy to see it. That even though he didn't become a window cleaner, but I got to be a part of that process and to see his growth. It's pretty awesome. Yep. So
yeah, that's cool.
I really like that. Yeah, but. So tell me a little bit about your growth right now, man, where you're going with your business and kind of what your goals are. Is this something that you're wanting to continue building, or are you at where you kind of find like is a sweet spot?
I don't know. It's a weird thing growing a business, as you know. Like you hit a spot and you're like, oh, this is pretty comfortable. But then you can kind of see that next step, like climbing a ladder, you can kind of see that next rung. You're like, oh, I can get there. So when you take it one step at a time, you only see that next step. You can't look all the way to the top and be like, oh, I'm going to get right there immediately. So you got to just look at it step by step. And I'm really happy where we're at right now. We're not going to scale or grow any further this year, but the plan is to keep. I hired a guy with the intention of having him full-time year-round, or as close as we can get it up here with the weather that we get in New England. But he's going to be the guy that I'm going to keep around and start next year with, so he can lead a crew next year. And I'd like to get a third truck on the road going to next year. I think for me, that's the next rung, the next step up is to get that third truck, have 3 crews going in the summer, and I can just kind of jump around and help out as needed or do the administrative work, which I love so much. I love the office work. And I don't know if you can detect the sarcasm in my voice there, but that's got to get done. And it drives me nuts when I have to come back after a long day on the glass to sit at the computer and do the admin stuff. I hate that. But if I had a couple hours free during the day, it would make it so much smoother and so much easier.
Right. Yeah, I tell you what, man, and it's like when you first start, it's not that big of a deal because you don't have that much to do, and then as you start growing, you're just like, oh man, now I got to do this, and now I got to do this, and it's something. In module 5 of the Squeegee online classes. We have a business management, part, and administration part. And we have a ton of videos about just all the different things that I wish I would have known when I started my business, stuff that kind of popped up on me. And I had to play catch up to try and not get in trouble with the IRS. So it's just different, it's those things where it's a necessary evil. It's not fun, but it allows you then to do the stuff that you want to do, to grow. So it's the evolution from a businessman, right?
It is, and in just the same as the technical side of it, you're going to trip over hurdles, like you said, with tax stuff, with the the paperwork, the legal stuff. You're going to trip over that stuff once in a while. But as long as you're like, all right, you're not just going to let it knock you down and keep you down. You're going to, all right, I have to figure out how to navigate this. I have to figure out how to not get in this situation next year, or figure out how to get ahead of this for the next time I see it. So you're going to have those little obstacles over the course of the road that you're on, and you're going to trip. And that's okay. That's every part of every business that everybody goes through. But you just got to, keep getting up, keep pushing forward, and find a way.
Yeah, for sure. Well, also, I wanted to talk a little bit about our history. We met through the Into the Flow group, and it's hard to imagine. I think it was 2018 when we started. We're coming on 8 years of that group being started, and I can, between the IWCA and Into the Flow, I can trace my maturity as a business owner through that time. What was that like for you? Where were you at when you first became an admin of Into the Flow, and where do you see your path from then? I'll let you say yours first, and then I'll
it's kind of nice. Like, it's a huge difference from where I was then to where I am now. I think I was managing a small crew at that time, but I had no systems in place. I had no supports. It was just the way that I learned it, the way I figured it out as I went, which was not the best way. It worked for me, but trying to bring someone else in, I kind of did things backwards in a lot of ways, and set myself up. I sabotaged myself, for success. But then meeting some of the people like you and Kevin, and there's so many. I could just go on and on and on. But some of the experience that you guys had, and I was able to bounce questions off and know that I was going to get a straightforward answer, or someone with years and years of experience that knew from that experience how I could put myself in a better position to make that next step. So, you take where I was in 2018, 2019, just struggling to grow the business, struggling to keep up with the demand, because I had built a good reputation on quality. Mm-hmm. But as the demand grew, I couldn't manage it because I didn't have a system for hiring, a system for training. I didn't have any of those things in place. So I just kept falling on my face every time I tried to do that. And if it wasn't for finding people like you and people like Kevin and others in the group that I know, I have a long list, I could go on and on. If it wasn't for that, I'd probably still be in that same position. I will backtrack a little bit. 2020 came with COVID, and I just decided I'm going to do it by myself. I'm not going to worry about hiring other people. I'm not going to worry about managing other people. And I enjoyed that for a year or two. I didn't have to worry about someone calling in. I didn't have to worry about training, putting the steps in place to train someone, to hire someone, to get them efficient on the glass and having them show up consistently. I didn't have to worry about them in the off season. All right, how am I going to keep this guy busy and keep him coming back for the spring when we're busy again? I didn't have to worry about that. And it was nice for a while. And then it started to wear on me. It starts to burn you out when you're putting everything on your own back. So I decided to attend my first window cleaning conference. And that was the biggest change for me. That really kind of leapfrogged me to where I am today. And that was only 3 or 4 years ago that I went to my first one. And it's just made such a huge difference. Was that Orlando? It went in Orlando. I think it was maybe 5 years ago. I think it was 2021 or 22. Okay. I think that was the first one. Then I missed a year, and then I've been to every one since. But, take where I was in 2018, 2019, struggling, no clue what to do next. And now I've kind of laid a good foundation for growth. And I can, like I said, I see the next step. I know where the next step is. I don't always have the answers for how to get there, but I know people, I've put good people around me where if I have a question, I can call Gabe and Gabe's going to answer the phone and say, all right, well, here's what I would do next. Or I can call Kevin and Kevin's going to answer the phone and he's going to give me a really hard truth the way Kevin can only deliver it.
That's what Kevin's good at. He's good at giving you hard truths.
Yep. Short and to the point, but it's the truth. But yeah, that's where we're at now.
Yeah, nice. So you go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I was gonna go and then I just stopped. I forgot. I lost my train of thought.
No worries. So talk a little bit about the benefit of that mentorship. I think all of us, especially when we're new, we're kind of growing. Maybe we're 4 or 5 years in. Our business is changing. The way that we interact with our business. Is that mentorship so important?
It's going to show you no one's perfect. No one knows everything, especially someone who's young and new to the business. And you can get really good at the technical side in a few years, 3 to 4 years. You can be fantastic at the window cleaning, but running a business is a different animal altogether. And without mentorship, you can beat your head against the wall thinking you're going to figure it out, and you'll never see the next step. You'll never see, you'll never know what are the things you need to focus on to really grow and adapt and take your business to a new level. So without the mentorship, you're just missing a key piece to the puzzle of growth.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's exactly right. I know for me, when we started the Into the Flow group, that was Craig Hensel's thing, right? He started it and he asked a bunch of people to join. I joined. I told him I would do it temporarily. I was like, I'll do it for maybe 3 or 4 months until you find enough people to help you with the moderation. Because I just did not want to be kind of bogged down with being a moderator and having to deal with people and having to deal with, arguments or whatever, just all the work that goes in that. And then Craig, he got real busy. He started doing other things, and it was just kind of all our volunteers, and I think it was Sarah was in there, was one of the originals. It was Kevin was trying to think of who Nando was one of the originals as well. And we had a few others, and Anthony Padlow was one of the originals. He ended up leaving as well. But then it started changing. Some would leave. Joel was another one that came in and he left. He got kind of busy with his family stuff. And then we had this core group of people who we still have now. And you came in a little later, and I don't know, man. It was just, we all brought something different to the table. We all brought something that, because I have learned something from every single one of you guys, something different from my own personality. I've got a very analytical type thinking. I'm a very patient kind of, I wait to make moves. And then you get someone like Kevin, who's like, boom, let's go do this, boom. And you get someone like Feba Vandermeer, who's just a really smart thinker, and Sarah also, who makes just really, really good decisions and is very insightful. And Nando, who's just got all this energy as well. And you yourself, you came in with, I think you brought one passion, and you brought you had a real strong sense of right and wrong. And I think that was really important for us, because when you're a moderator of a group and you're making decisions on, should this post stay, should this post go, someone said this, is this something that we should make a big deal about, or should we allow this to be free speech? What category does this go? It's really easy to get mixed up in the minutia of it all, right? And to kind of, that whole moderation game is just, it can be tiring. And you often were the strong voice of, no, this is wrong. This is why it's wrong. we can't. What kind of people are we if we allow this to happen, or if we censor this or whatever, whatever the situation was.
Yeah.
And me being more of a patient analytical person who kind of was seeing all sides, I appreciated that sometimes, because it helped to kind of take me out of the, not, I won't say wishy-washy, because I wasn't wishy-washy. It was more just being able to see both sides of the coin and say, no, you're right. This thing that he said, that is the principle that we need to make the decision on. And so that's how we're going to make the decision.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes, like you said,
you brought that, and that was something I've learned from and appreciated.
You can get caught in these situations where you get indecisive. And when you're there's no progress.
Mm-hmm.
When you get indecisive and you're trying to really understand both sides, you kind of get into a situation where, all right, we need to actually make a decision now. I'm in a spot where I can see both sides, but I can't make a decision now. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's had both. I've seen both sides of it with my personality. Like it's cut and dry sometimes. I land on one side and I try to explain, all right, this is why I'm here. And this is why I think that side's wrong.
But here's what I appreciate about you, though, Kory. And this is not usually when someone is very, they have their opinions. They're called opinionated, and it's like everybody's wrong. I'm the only one who's right. But you were never like that. Even if you had a strong position on something, and we would bring up other reasons and say, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? You would listen. And it would take you a couple days now.
No,
it wasn't anything
definitely
that we'd win you over that day. But then you would come back. You come back and say, hey, you know what? I thought about it. You're right. And, let's just go ahead and do this. I think that's the right thing to do. So we do need that. If you're going to have very strong feelings about something, you also have to have that ability to kind of like rethink things and be willing to look at the other side in certain circumstances. And that's important in business too. We can have really strong feelings about how our business is going to go. But if we don't listen to the data, right, or we don't look at the results and then make future decisions based on what the results are, well, now we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. We got to learn from that.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to take a quick break here and just thank everyone who's watching. So just so you know, I know we had a late start. This is what I was worried about the last time I came in here. I'm in the Pinetop Lakeside area. I was worried about internet issues, and we certainly have them now. I cannot see who's on, so I keep going to the page where I normally go to see all the comments and who's on, and see if people have questions and ask. And I don't have access to it, so I don't know if you do, Kory. But if you do, if you see someone, go ahead and
I got some comments in here
because I don't.
Mark Tanner's in there.
You go.
Adam Hogan's in there.
Oh, nice.
Jason Gulick asked if I'm wearing pants, and I'm not going to share the answer to that question, but I might stand up later in the show.
That's on the pay-per-view part of the podcast.
Send a tip.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you were one of my first clients actually with the consultant program that we have with Squeegee. So with Squeegee, we have several consultants. You can pay money to kind of we basically set up appointments to talk about your business, and we can help you set up plans. We can help you set up different goals that you have, or if you're struggling in some area, we can sit down and break everything down and say, hey, what is holding you up? What is the things that are holding you up? So could you share a little bit about your experience? I don't want to act like I'm fishing for compliments here, but I don't know if everybody understands what a consultant appointment is and how it can help you.
Yeah, again, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. With either side of the business, whether you're starting out on the technical side, you don't quite know the best technique or what tool is going to be best for you, or what approach to a certain job, you're going to hit those hurdles along the way and you're going to fall down. And you might not know the best way to get through it. Maybe you suffered through it on the job that day, and you found a way to make it happen, but in the back of your mind, all right, there has to be a better way to do that, or a better tool for that. And the consultations can be as quick as 1 hour, and you bring the problem to the table. You say, all right, this is what I dealt with at this job. This is the situation I faced. This is how I handled it. How would you handle it with 2 decades plus of experience? And then you get an answer to that question. And it could be way quicker than an hour. I mean, personally for me, I think our sessions were more geared towards the growth side and scaling side with, all right, when do I hire? How do I hire? How do I choose the right person for the business that fits the culture? But all those little problems that come up along the way, and there's so many of them that are going to trip you up. I'm 2.5 months into our busy season right now, and there's been problems I've hit along the way. And you gotta figure out how to get through them. Hiring problems. All right, now I have to manage a guy. Here's a perfect one for you. We're going to go through one live right now. I had a client call yesterday to give me feedback on the crew I sent to the job. The guy went out to the van twice, and she said he was vaping on the job. I said, well, was he doing that in the house? Because he knows better. He's not supposed to be doing that. She's like, well, she says, I don't care whether it was inside the house or outside the house. I don't know what he's smoking, and I don't think he should be driving a vehicle or on a ladder. And it turns out, it's a nicotine. I already know about it. It's nicotine, but she was really concerned. And my personal opinion is he probably shouldn't be doing that where the client can see him. You want to go into the van or take a walk off the property. That's fine. But from a customer service standpoint, I don't know that I wouldn't do it in a place where they could see me. So that was one I had to think about. I'm like, all right, how am I going to have this discussion with him when he gets back and address the issue? To me, it's a very minor issue. It's not like he's not on drugs. It's not something that's going to intoxicate him. But the customer brought a complaint, not really a complaint, but a concern. And we have to figure out, all right, how do we avoid this in the future? Or do we just brush it off? So how would Gabe handle that?
And this is so I actually talk about that in the etiquette class that I teach. And there's so for me, and this is not a hard and fast rule. This is just from my observations over the years. So like I do not allow any smoking on property, on any customer's property, even if it means going to the car to smoke for that exact reason. Some customers could care less. They don't even care. Especially in the higher end companies, it gives off a certain look, right? The guy sitting there smoking on, by the truck, and I personally have had complaints of my employees doing it. So we now have a rule as part of our SOP is if you are a smoker and you want to smoke, you go to parking lot of a grocery store or whatever, or Circle K or a convenience store. Get your smoking in and then go to the property. And the way I word it is once you're on the property, it's like you're on the customer's clock, right? So the same thing applies for showing up and parking in front of the customer's house and answering texts or answering emails. I don't even do that. So like if I show up to a customer's house and I know I have something really urgent I need to reply to, the office needs information, or I need to reply to an email, I will get down, talk to the customer first, let them know I'm here, and then say, hey, I've got an email I got to reply to. I'm just going to be in my car for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to get right to work on your house. Is that okay? Everyone's okay with that. But I've had complaints of customers where my employees have showed up and sat in the car, like they got there on time, but they sat in the car for 10, 15 minutes before getting down. So now technically they're late.
They're looking out the window.
Because they started.
What's he doing out there?
That's it. Look, what are they doing? What are they doing? And it's just letting them know, hey, this is what I'm doing, and if you have a reasonable reason for being in there, as long as the customer knows, they're okay. But they're like, do they think they have the wrong address? Are they okay? What's going on? Or if they're in a hurry, like if they're on a time limit, right? Hey, like I've had some customers who are like, they just want to be there to get them set up and then they got to go, and their wife is there or their husband's there, but they're the ones who are making the decisions. So, that's what I always say. You arrive on the customer's property, the clock starts, and the customer is the boss. So we need to act that way. So excessive breaks, obviously it's different in the heat. You've got to take the water breaks, and if you're working in, you need to get in a cool area. That's totally understandable. That doesn't apply here. But excessively checking your phone, going back and forth to the truck 5-6 times, all of that gets on the customer's nerves.
That one drives me nuts.
And for efficiency,
but just for both the in and out of the door, like it's not just the efficiency is a problem because in our training, which is another thing I know we've talked about before, having an actual training plan and what your employees should do when they get to the job. Check in with the client, determine what tools you're going to need for the job, stage all your equipment at the front door. Once you go in, unless it's a massive house with 200 windows, you're not going out unless you need to take a break. Unless you're taking a lunch break and you've been in there for 4 hours. Once you go in, you have everything you need. You don't need to go back and forth to the truck 4 or 5 times.
And part of our SOP as well is if the employee sees that there is something that makes the job easier, they need to put notes in it, right? So like if you need a specific piece of equipment, that's in the notes. So that way when our
like a vape
pen. But if there's something that they normally wouldn't have in their truck, then make sure it's in the notes. Be sure to bring XYZ. Or if there's something kind of quirky about the house, hey, this window over here is a little shaky, it rattles when I clean, just be careful when you're cleaning it, something like that. But it's just it's so that when we show up, we don't just, it's not like we're starting from zero. I hate that so much. When we've done it, we've cleaned a house as a company 3 or 4 times. We should have in the notes what is the most efficient way to clean that house, and it's different from employee to employee. But
and some jobs, like you said, you're bringing in different equipment. Like all right, there's ladder work in the stairwell here. So now you need to bring, like usually we're just bringing a step ladder in, drop cloths, and our tool belts, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But now all right, I need to bring another ladder, and so stage all that stuff at the front door. It just doesn't, to me, it doesn't look as professional if you're going out to the truck 5 times.
Yep, 100%. So I know when we talked, hiring was one of your issues. So what are some things that you've learned from when you first started hiring till now? Because your hiring success rate has improved. It's gone up. But I remember in the beginning, you were kind of going through employees pretty quick.
Yeah, so I kind of tweaked my my recruiting plan. One of the first conventions I went to, I took a class on recruiting, and nice. I've been tweaking the plan over the last couple of years, and I don't want to say make it difficult, but I want to see how much a prospective employee is going to interact. Like if I send them a text, are they going to respond? If I send them an email, are they going to respond? If I ask them a question, how quickly are they going to answer it? If I ask them 10 questions, how thorough are they going to be with answering the questions, and how detailed are they going to be? It just kind of shows you a little bit about their personality. So I do a questionnaire. I do the initial, see who's interested in the job. I send them a questionnaire. I review the answers. Are they one-word answers? One word, probably not too detailed. Are they more detailed with their answers? Okay, maybe I'll take a closer look at this one. And then I'll review the answers. And then I give them like 3 or 4 different hoops to jump through. And I see who's the one that made it through all the hoops. And if you made it through all those hoops, you showed some attention to detail in your answers, chances are you're going to be a better fit than the guy who just went through the bare minimum to apply for the job and click the link. So that's go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you
say you do get that with window cleaners because, you get the ones who are, I don't know about your area, but in my area, there's a circuit. And there's about 15 to 20 names that whenever I post a position for hire, they all come back. It's like they just do this route of all the window cleaning companies in Tucson because we have a ton of window cleaning companies, so they have a lot to go through. But they are used to, if they have experience, their people hire them. And so I don't want those circuit guys because they'll work for a little while, they'll do good, and then they start slacking off, and then they either leave or I have to fire them because their quality has gone down.
Yeah.
And this last fall, I had 2 guys who, when I hired them, did really, really well. And then by the end of the busy season, it's like they just almost were like not even window cleaners. I mean, they were literally just slapping water on there, running the squeegee, and I had to go back and redo some houses because they were just so bad. So I ended up letting them go in January.
Yeah, that's tough.
But I mean, I almost lost a couple really big clients because of them, But it was just this night and day. It's like
when you have to go put out fires all the time, on something that should have been taken care of properly to begin with, that's a bad reflection on you. And it also, those are the things that start to irritate me. If it's one, I know this guy was at this job and he didn't wipe the sills. Now, a week later, I know the same guy was at another job and I know the sills aren't cleaned. And I've already addressed it with him from the last time. So now I'm starting to my phone is ringing to go back and fix problems that should be taken care of the first time. Yes. We should be doing things right the first time. Those are the things that kind of rub me the wrong way. And you have to find out the way. Now, I used to be Mr. I'm more cut and dry. Like, this is the problem. This is what you need to do. Sometimes I need to soften it a little bit with certain employees because they can't take harsh criticism. But then if you're too soft consistently, they know you're not going to come down harder. They know that you're going to be the one to go back and fix it. So now I'm to the point all right, I'm going to send them back to fix this. You're going to go back and fix it. You left a tool on the job. You're going back to get it on your own time. And you need to coordinate that with the client to make sure they're all right with you coming back to the property on your own time. Mm-hmm.
But this is where SOPs are important, because then you don't have to be angry at them. You can just simply say, hey, this is what we do. You left the tool. You're going to go get that off the clock. Simple as that. Or you can buy and replace it, whatever you want to do. Either one's fine. But that has to be written down. So that way, hey, man, I left the pole at the house. Okay, what do? You know what to do. You don't have to ask me.
Here's the document.
And so now it's a document. You signed it, but then that way everyone's on the same page. You don't have to yell because it's already very clear. This is what you have to do when you do this. Mm-hmm. And that takes time, and it changes too. Some rules or processes that you have, they work well for when you're 2 to 3 employees, but they don't work so well when you're 4 to 5. So you have to adjust it.
So we're
and it also the type of employees that you have. If you have really solid employees.
Yeah, we're in a spot now where it's it's manageable with. I do need to document some stuff. It's manageable with verbal, this is the expectation. Some of it, not all of it. A lot of it is documented and it is signed in their agreement. But things like that, they just know, if I leave something at the job, I have to go get it. It's not written down anywhere. They didn't sign off on it, but they know they have to go get it. Now, at some point, these things are probably need to be, if you get bigger and bigger, and I don't know how big I want to get, but when you start getting too big,
there is this,
things are much more easily communicated, I think, on paper than they are. We're in the same truck, we're in the same jobs a lot. It's a big job. I'll send all 4 guys to the job. We're all there together. So we know when something is left behind by one guy, we know who it was. So the guy, I didn't put this screen in over here. All right, he knows he's got to go fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just real quick, Thomas Wilson says, I bet I wouldn't make it past either of your hiring processes. That's why you start your own business, Tom. That's why you start your own business.
We're going to find out. Tom is coming down to work with me on Saturday.
But that's what. Oh, there you go. You're going to find out if he gets kicked out for vaping, then you just get out. But that's what's so cool about window cleaning is you can start your own business and you can find your customers. A lot of guys who kind of want to do their own thing, they find their customer base. They find the customers who are perfectly cool with the things that they do. They're perfectly cool with vaping. They're perfectly cool with other things that they might, or maybe idiosyncrasies that they might have, ways that they want to do things, and they have a really solid business. They have a solid customer base, and they're good. It's just everybody has different customers or different clientele they're trying to reach. And I'm trying to reach the higher end people. I'm trying to reach the people who do care if there's guys sitting outside their house, looking like they're having a picnic or something. And that's, they want things to kind of have a certain look or feel.
Yeah. So, and most of my clientele is the same. We're on the shoreline. Again, it's clients who have a summer home. It's a second home. They're wealthy clients. They have high-end homes, and they want you to treat their property I would say like you treat your own, but some people don't treat their own stuff that well, from what I
right?
find. So why would
It's
they
a,
treat your stuff or a client's stuff well?
no, for sure. We got about 15 minutes. We'll go a little bit past and talk about overcoming
I might have to
adversity.
grab my.
Your cart?
I gotta grab my plug here. I think my. Bear with me a second.
Sure.
My laptop's not plugged in, so I don't want the battery to
Oh
die.
yeah.
Just chimed at me.
It just says, "Hey, give me some
Gave
battery,
me the
man."
warning.
I did want to talk about adversity. We all go through different things. Sometimes we go through health stuff. Sometimes we go through financial stuff. Sometimes we go through just life. Life is just kind of beating us down. You've been someone who I've admired. You've gone through some really tough things, and you've been able to kind of still keep your focus on it. So, what are some things that what is some advice you would give to people who are going through kind of challenging times while they're trying to maintain their family life, they're trying to maintain their business? What's some things that you found have kind of helped you?
I don't know if I have a great answer for this at all. It's just resilience. Just be resilient. Have thick skin. Things aren't always going to go perfect in life. Things don't always go perfect in business. But I was never a quitter growing up. Anytime things got hard in anything, your back's against the wall. You just got to, you fight your way out of it. And I think that's the best way I could describe it, at least my experience. You got to operate in fight or flight sometimes, and flight doesn't solve anything in most situations. You got to just fight your way through stuff and learn from it.
How do you deal with the negative thoughts, though? Because the negative thoughts can be overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah. They certainly come. The negative thoughts will certainly come from time to time. And I've thought about, I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about quitting this business, selling this business, and going to get an office job somewhere. But you have a good support circle. You talk to someone who you know you can confide in, and is going to give you an honest, real answer, but also help you get over the hurdles. Because again, you're going to have those bumps in the road. Things aren't always going to be perfect, but there's always a way through. There's always a way through if you want to believe there is, and if you want to pursue it. There's going to be a way out of it. So for me, it's being persistent, knowing that nothing's permanent, knowing that there's always a solution. These are kind of the things that I do mentally to try to work my way through problems. And again, having a good support circle or having a mentor to bounce things off of. And we've all been there. I know we've all been there. You in Arizona heat, I'm sure you wanted to throw in the towel multiple times. Like, this is too hot. I don't want to do this anymore. I want an air conditioned office job. We get like 3 weeks of that up here. So I don't really, the heat doesn't get me. But there's other things that, slow season, off season, the uncertainty of having work for 2 to 3 months. Those are things where you get kind of low, and you just got to find something positive to focus on, something else to occupy your mind and your time that keeps you engaged in life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, everything that you said is so accurate. I know for me, especially when I've done it for 26 years, and I've had so many ups and downs. And you're absolutely right. There have been a lot of times where I was like, I should just get a real job somewhere. And I have actually. When we had our daughter, and she had some health issues when she was very young, so our hospital bills were kind of expensive. And we didn't have insurance. I mean, it was just my wife and I. For the longest time, we paid for the pregnancy out of pocket, and we made just payments. And so, it was like, that was a real thing. I applied for jobs. I even got a call back on one, but through prayer and just kind of just thinking about it and what the business could actually give me. At the end of it, it was like, no, I need to stay. I need to build. I need to work on it is what I need to do. It's not enough as it is, but it could become that if I work on it. And that's like 2013, 2012, 2013. And that's when I actually started working on my business. You know, all the time I had kind of treated it as a side gig, you know, just kind of a side hustle. I never really put a lot of work into it. I just took what it gave, but never really went out to go try and find customers. And it grew, you know, after that. But yeah, you know, as bad as it can be, I think you need to talk to people who have been through it to hear them say, you're going to get through this. You need someone to tell who you can trust, and not just someone who's just saying platitudes or saying things just to make you feel good, but someone who's gone through it to say, hey, this is going to be tough. You're going to think you're not going to get through it. You're going to get through it. And when you hear that from someone who you respect and know who they know what it's like, that sometimes just gives you the juice to continue being resilient and just continue going on, head down, go forward. And then before you know it, you're in the busy season again. You're going on all cylinders. So
you gotta have that.
You need that.
You have to have the willingness to see it through. You know, one thing I've always said to myself over the years is, the other thing, you didn't come this far to only come this far. That's a saying that that stuck with me for years and years, because there's a lot of things, you know, you get to a certain point and you get comfortable, and then maybe you start to dip a little bit, but then you gotta push to the next step. You gotta, all right, I gotta figure out what to do here. I gotta move on to the next part of this, because I can't just stop here. And it's not just business, it's life too. You know, you're a runner. I'm sure at times you've plateaued with running and you've wanted to quit that because you got injured, or it got too difficult, but you find a way to navigate that obstacle and move on to the next. Relationships with people, relationships with a spouse, you hit obstacles along the way, but you didn't put all this work in to just throw in the towel and give up. Quitting is the easiest thing in the world to do, I think. I think quitting is the easiest thing in the world to do. The hardest thing is to find your way through it and push forward.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And it's like when I talk to people who are struggling with that and struggle with whatever, it could be something non-business related, but it's affecting their business, or it could be something specific to their business. I always tell people, don't take it personal. You know, this is not a statement on you. Now, it's understandable, especially if your family is suffering, because you're struggling to make the money. That's not because you're a bad person, and I know I would do that sometimes early on, and I would be like, man, I can't believe I haven't made enough money to pay this or pay that. And then all of a sudden you get a call and boom, there's this big job, and that's it. That's your mortgage, that's your groceries, whatever. And that's what's so cool about the window cleaning. It just takes one call, and it just takes one. So what I've done now is, when we slow down, is I jump on the phone first. And I talked about this last podcast as well. I jump on the phone, start making calls. I call my customers, talk to them, schmooze with them, let them know, hey, we're a little slow right now. We're looking for anything we can do. These are all the services that we offer. Anything that we can do, we'd love to work. Or if you know somebody who could use our services, refer us out, but it's like, there's always something to do. There's always networking to do. There's always posting in Facebook groups to do, So it's like, whenever I find myself sitting on my hands and just kind of like there, I'm like, okay, that's the automatic. Okay, what can I do that is productive? What can I do that is going to produce income that will work towards that? Then I'm going to today. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on that. And then tomorrow I'm going to focus on a different thing. And then the calls come, and now we've got work, but it's like, you have to kind of always be in that mode, looking for those opportunities to produce the work. And that's a hard thing for you to do when you're thinking negatively, but for me, it helps me it gives me purpose, right? So if I'm sad or I'm upset because of a certain situation, hey, this is the solution to that problem. So now my effort is going to something that is actually addressing the issue that I'm dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That just takes some mental, strength to force yourself to do that. But you can develop that. Everyone can,
Yep. And you'll
And
find like
so, yeah, it's one of those situations where over time,
the more you overcome those situations, the more you overcome the downs, the more confidence you have to handle the next one.
yes,
So I almost look at it like the
yes,
universe will give you exactly what you need. If you're feeling, all right, I don't have a lot of work right now, but you start thinking, like you said, strategic, okay, what can I do to fix that? Can I call, what job hasn't, you look in your CRM, who haven't I serviced in a couple of years? Or even if you don't have a CRM, what jobs could I call right now that I think might give me a yes to help put food on the table for next week for my family? Once you start thinking positively,
yep.
or actually, thinking of what the next step should look like, the universe will kind of bring it back to you. I mean, that's the way, in my experience, anytime I've hit a
There's
low
a
or hit a
term.
point that I needed something, as long as I stayed positive and stayed engaged, it came.
Here's a term that I tell my clients about. It's IPA. So you think about the beer, but it's not beer. It's income producing actions. What things are you doing that actually produce income? Because we can kind of get, like, I know with me with social media, you can see an action long term, maybe, right? But I need
Mm-hmm.
immediate income. I don't need long term income. So sometimes that's dialing back, and that's where the cold calling comes in, right? The making the phone calls, emailing realtors and property managers, just letting you know I service businesses. We've been doing this for this long. We're dependable. If you have any needs, please give us a call. And I may send 1,000 emails out and get one or two calls back, but those one or two calls may provide a connection with a realtor or property manager that actually lasts, and that produces more money in the future. So there's a lot of different things you can do, but that's what I always ask myself. So if I'm working towards something, is this an income producing action? Does this effort I'm putting forth have a good chance of actually producing a job, getting some money, getting some work? So that helps when you frame it that way, to know what you should do next, where you should be devoting your energy and your time to when you're slow, or when you're struggling on something, or addressing. Like, for instance, if your issue is systems and you've got employees and you've got the work, but they're inefficient, the customers are complaining. Well, what is that? Well, that's an issue with your systems, right? They're obviously not trained to do what they don't aren't taught what they need to do. So now you need to invest time and energy to get that training down, so that everyone is on the same page, and that if one person is messing up, the other employee is like, hey, no, it's not what we do. We do this. This is how we do it. Everyone should know what the rules are. And that takes time too, right?
Yeah.
That takes a lot of give and take. That takes a lot of effort, and just kind of knowing your employees and knowing your business. But over a year or so, you can develop some pretty solid procedures that can eliminate a lot of the issues that come when you don't have those procedures, when the employees don't know what they're supposed to do and they're just kind of winging it. Yeah. All right. Well, I let me see here. Yeah. Okay. So I just want to apologize for everybody. We've been having some issues with Facebook. So every once in a while I can see who's in here, and now I see. So Squeegee Rick came in. I off it. I appreciate everything that you do, man. He says, absolutely, Gabe. You don't have to agree with each other's opinions, but it's a great skill to be able to listen and reflect, even if it's post discussion, and take little snippets from people and improve. Many people aren't great at this. That's exactly true. Just because you may not agree with everything, there may be one or two things in the conversation that you have that actually means something. It makes a difference in your own business. A lot of times it hasn't been this great big discussion, but sometimes it's just one little conversation with one point that you apply, and it makes a big difference on here. But Kodreen is in here, Frank Graves in here, Mark Tanner came in. I know they're popping in and out. So I just appreciate. Sorry, I haven't been able to see everybody. Also, Jess, who was on last week, she's in. She's always good to join us. So, but anyways, yeah, I just appreciate it. Anything else you want to touch on, Kory, before we sign off here?
I can't really think of anything off the top. I know a lot of us are looking forward to the February convention in Dallas. I keep seeing the emails. I keep seeing everybody share the links on it on Facebook. I don't know who's going to the huge. I'm not going to be able to make that one, so I haven't really been paying much attention to it. But I think the IWCA in February is going to be absolutely enormous, and I think it's going to be a really, really good time.
Yeah, I am so excited for it. I didn't get a chance. They had the quarterly board meeting there, and I was going to go, and then had some situation with my mom. I wasn't able to go. I'm not really able to travel too much right now. But yeah, it's going to be a blast. There's going to be so many people who are going. So we're going to have the people who are new last year who are going to be there. I think just about everyone I've seen said they're coming back, plus more people. So I mean, it is just going to be an awesome get together. I mean, the networking is going to be off the charts, and just the camaraderie that we're going to get to feel. And we're going to have more vendors here as well. So it's going to be even bigger of a trade show than it was last year.
Is the trade show full already?
So I don't know. I don't think it's full. I think we still have some tables, but it's getting close. It will be full very, very shortly, I think. Yeah. I know they have some reserved for some of our not affiliate members. So what are they called? Can't remember. But they're, they, by virtue of being a certain type of member as a vendor, you have kind of first dibs on tables. So I think they are holding some still, but eventually, yeah, they'll be sold out. So it's going to be fun. But yeah, just like Kory said, man, these conventions, they can change your whole business. Absolutely.
Not only the business, I still have chats going with a lot of the guys that were the Orlando crew chat. We have a chat with I don't know how many people are in it. 8 or 9 guys. Squeegee Tom's in there. Jason Gulick's in there. Damien's in there. Adam Hogan. It's just, we have these little groups that kind of just formed, and now that chat's been going. It's active every day. 25, 30 messages in that chat. I got the Into the Flow chat. What do I got to do to get an invitation to that chat? I don't know. We got to talk to somebody high up, see if we can get you in there. But we started it while we were there, I think. It started while we were there. We were going to meet for dinner or something like that, and that chat started there, and then it's just never it's never quit. But it's those little things, awesome. and they become family. Everybody becomes family now. We keep up with each other day to day.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Well, Kory, it has been a pleasure talking to you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person again at the convention. But just thank you for all the help you've given me over the years. I know it's been mutual. I've been able to help you. You've been able to help me. But you've been one of those solid people that, you are who you are, and you don't put on a pretense. You don't put on, a show to try and get someone to do something that you want them to do. You are who you are. And that's why I always trust. If you tell me something, I trust that it's coming from the right place. And those types of people are rare in this world anymore. So thank you for being one of those people and being one of my friends, so that I know I have someone I can always talk to who will give it to me straight. You and Kevin.
That's why we get along.
It means a lot to me. Yeah, for sure.
That's why, because the feeling's mutual.
All right, guys.
I like people that bring value to, not just looking to take, but also, give, and we'll always be there for you if you need them. So I appreciate you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Kory. Thank you guys all for listening and for putting up with all the technical difficulties that we've had. But I really appreciate you and appreciate everyone who commented and shared stuff. Just remember, if you want to take advantage of the Squeegee U consultant program, just got to DM me and we'll set up a free consultation. We'll see if it's something that's right for you. We have several people in different aspects or different places in their business growth that can help you. So depending on what your goals are, we'll find the right person for you. Also, with Dan Friss and his Facebook training program, if you didn't watch the podcast we had with him on here, please go back. If you're frustrated with your Facebook ads and you don't want to pay someone to do it, but you also know that there's work out there to be had, watch his video. He's offering $500 off of the program if you let them know you found it through Squeegee. So I mean it's a huge discount, and it for me it has doubled, more than doubled what I've put into it that we've gotten out from work. So it's something that view it as an investment, view it as something that you're going to be able to benefit from long term. But that's about it for me here, guys. So thank you so much again for listening. I appreciate you guys all very much. Everyone who sends me messages, and especially those who are saying, "Hey, when's the podcast coming on?" When it wasn't up at the beginning, that makes me feel good that you guys want to listen in, and I really appreciate it. So, all right, Kory, you take care, bud. We'll catch you later.
Thanks, Gabe.